actually go here, escape. So you are recording. What I want to do. Why can I not escape? What I'm trying to, this is what I'm trying to do. Oh, you are live. Okay. So, good afternoon, everybody. You've got India Harris Jones and Sean Arthurs from the National PTA here. We'll give everybody maybe about another minute, and then we will start up. Oh, so this is how you see. This is how they can see. They can hear me say this right now. Mm-hmm. Hi, Rebecca. She can't actually talk because she, I think, she may not even have her speakers unmuted herself. So is she going to be our speaker?
She's a speaker.
So we need to work with her. Unmute her and make sure you can hear her. Oh.
Oh.
Okay, you got it.
Mm-hmm. Hi, Rebecca. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for joining.
No problem.
This is great. Technology is working.
Good.
That's always an excitement. We're going to give people about 5 minutes to join, and then we'll get started.
Okay.
Awesome. Hi, I see we have Tamika on the phone. Hello. And I'm going to give about 2 more minutes. I know we have around 10 people that registered, so about 2 more minutes and then we'll get started. Okay, so for the sake of time, we are going to get started. That way we get through everything. So I'm just going to start by saying that first, Sean had to, he had another engagement come up. So I will be the one that's leading the webinar, which is totally okay because I feel like I can. So yay. So I'm going to welcome you to our question and answer webinar. And this came apart because we had quite a few questions from some of our local PTAs who wanted to know, who wanted to find out how things were going with other local PTAs who were hosting a family game night. So first of all, I want to congratulate you all again for being awarded. And we will get started. Can everyone see the screen okay?
Yes.
Awesome. All right, so the National PTA staff for this particular initiative is myself, India Harris Jones. I'm the program specialist here, and then Sean Arthurs, who is the senior manager that could not be on the call. Just for a quick logistical thing, if you have a question or a comment, it's not many of us on here, so feel free to just interrupt and ask. If not, you can always type in your question under the question tab on the left-hand side. So this will be a quick webinar, a very short agenda, is simply introducing some of the general questions that we've got. I want to introduce Rebecca Newport, who will talk about her event, followed by some questions from you all, and then the feedback form questions, because I've had quite a few questions on the feedback form, and I figured this would be a great way. Also, this webinar will be recorded and posted on our website, so everyone will have access to it. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to introduce Rebecca Newport, who will talk about her amazing family game night and also be able to share some successes and challenges and any words of advice that she will have to give. So Rebecca, welcome.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. We had our family game night the end of January, and I was surprised at the turnout. It was really incredible. It was the most people we had show up for something that was just PTA. Usually you have to have kids perform or, something else going on to get a really good turnout. And we had probably about 150 to 200 people show up.
Awesome.
So that was really nice, and everyone was engaged. Um, there were dads that didn't want to leave because they couldn't figure out the color Sudoku game. They were like obsessed with trying to figure it out. So it was good to see the parents working with the kids. And we actually had some of our own games that we put out and some of our technology that we put out as well, so that we were able to split people up between the media center and the cafeteria, and that helped with space issues. The giveaway
Awesome.
was the giveaway was good. We just had everyone that signed in got an entry, and then about 7 we pulled names out for the winning games.
Okay. So, really quick, I have a question, if that's okay. Do you know around how many people attended your event?
I want to say there was probably about 150.
Awesome. Okay. Oh, okay. So what do you think were some of, so you stated a good success was the how engaged the students and parents were in the games and all of that. So was there any, as far as the planning, the event go, any challenges you experienced?
Repeat that.
So you discussed like some of your successes as far as the kids and parents being really engaged, which is amazing.
Right.
So I was wondering, were there any challenges to the planning process that other PTAs may experience?
We didn't have any. We already had the meeting was already planned from the beginning of the year, so knew we were going to have a PTA meeting that particular night, so it was already
Okay.
on the calendar. The only thing was that people asked why we didn't serve food, which is a common theme with many PTA meetings. But I think that if we had had a little bit more time to maybe explain how to play the games, that might have been better. If we had had more volunteers that maybe were familiar with the games to go around and help them when playing the games. We had, like, my family took home a set of the games and we played with them over Christmas break to get familiar with them.
Mhm.
So we were able to explain some, but we had every table in the cafeteria had at least 2 games on it. So it was hard for us to get around to be able to help. So a lot of people were, reading the instructions, trying to figure out how to play the game. So if you can have volunteers that are assigned like one of the games and that they're able to familiarize themselves with it and are able to explain it then to the parents and to the kids, that might be helpful.
That's great. Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you. So, so with that being said, was there any other successes that you think happened because of your game night?
Well, we had a lot of parents that came up to us after and wanted a list of the games because they wanted to purchase them for home.
Awesome.
Um, and that was, that was great. So we put that information in our newsletter. We put it on the school is going to put it on their website so that parents are able to, find the games. And like I said, a lot of the dads, which I'm sure the other PTA leaders know it's hard to get dads involved, but there were several dads that stayed until they could solve the Sudoku game. So that was kind of fun. But yeah, it was, all the feedback we got from it was positive from the parents and from the kids.
That's awesome. So, so that being said, are there any other words of advice that you will give other local PTAs that are still in the planning process for those that's happening in the springtime?
I would just say, just have fun with it and really talk it up and add, like we added, last year our PTA had purchased board games for our 5th grade classes. And so we borrowed like their Uno cards. And we had some iPads in the technology lab that were available to play with. We borrowed some chess sets from the chess club. And it was good that we did, because we needed some more games because we had such a great turnout. So if you have, other kinds of games that are available, you might want to add just a couple just in case you need some room. Like I said, familiarize yourself with the games, and serve food, I guess, because that was a common theme at ours.
Okay. Awesome. And this is a question that we also have. So, was there any unique information about your school community that may have affected the success of the event?
Well, we're the first STEM certified elementary school in Southeast Georgia, and we got that certification last year. So our emphasis is STEM, and we're trying to become STEAM certified this year. So I think that helped, that we were able to, let the parents know that this was STEM related, that it wasn't just, we were just going to be playing Monopoly, or, that these were thinking games. And so I think that correlation with our STEM certification and the games kind of helped to bring more people in.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. And before we get to the questions from the others who are also watching, do you have one big takeaway from your family game night as a PTA leader, as a parent? What was one thing that you took away from that night?
I think it was just the parental engagement, because so many times you have a PTA event and the parents are there and the kids are performing, but they're not really engaged together. And this was like the first event that PTA sponsored that really, you could see the parents and the kids like working together on the games. And that was encouraging for me to see. And a lot of people said that we need to do it again next year, that they had a great time. So that was encouraging as well.
Thank you. That is very encouraging. So thank you so much, Rebecca, for sharing your experience.
No
so
problem.
Now we are going to turn to the audience to see if they had any questions to ask Rebecca around her experience that you may have not heard. Feel free to type it in the question that's in the on the box on the left-hand side of your screen. In the meantime, while we are waiting on questions, I just wanted to share some information that's going on. So there were a few questions that I have received regarding the Think Fun games and whether or not they had to be used during family game night. So the answer to that question is yes, the actual Think Fun games are required to be used during your game night. How you use those games, however, are completely up to the PTA. So what that means is as long as we really encourage the families to actually play with the games during their game night, whether it's in a tournament style, or we had some, as suggested on the tip sheet on the website, we also had some PTAs who use the games along with bingo for their bingo night. So there are, I'm sure, a variety of ways to host it. However, the games are to be used during the family game night. And Rebecca, I will ask you this question: is was there a specific way that you all used the games? Was there stations?
We had them because the meeting was in the cafeteria. So after we did our initial, business part of the PTA meeting, we had volunteers and teachers who put some games out on all the tables where the parents were sitting. And then they were encouraged to get up and just kind of move around and try to play at least 3 different games. We wanted them to try their hands at least 3 different games. So.
Awesome. And I see we have 2 more people joined. I see Tammy and TJ. Hello, and thank you all for joining. Do anyone have any questions? Okay, there is a question here from Tamika. It says, do you think the 150 would have attended if they did not know about the game night? Rebecca, this question is for you.
I don't know. Like I said, typically with this school, if we don't have the kids performing or there's not something else going on, we get the teachers and maybe 4 or 5 parents that come to just a PTA meeting. So I think that they were there more for the game night than they were for PTA, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yes, and to add on to that, then did you get more interest in the PTA meetings because of this game night?
I did have several people come up to me afterward wanting to join who had not joined yet. And a couple, because we have a shortage of officers, so we had a couple of people that expressed interest in becoming officers for next year. So that was encouraging. Whether they follow through, we'll see, but that was encouraging.
Awesome. Thank you, Tamika, for that question. She also want to know, what I just asked. Great. We were on the same page, Tamika. Awesome. So Tamika says, great. Awesome. Okay, and please keep the questions coming as Tamika also asks, did you incur any extra expenses?
No, we didn't have any, we didn't provide anything else. So it was just strictly the game night. So there was no cost to our PTA.
And that's actually amazing. Tamika says, okay, and that's actually amazing to have had such an amazing turnout and there was no food or anything. So yeah. that goes to show the amount of trust and work that your PTA put in and that the community view you. So that's awesome.
Yeah, and I think it helped. We sent home flyers, and as soon as we knew that we were the recipients of the games, we started posting on Facebook and really talked up a game night for the families. And so that probably helped as well, was just getting the word out there and making sure that everyone knew that this was happening.
Awesome. Okay, so please feel free to continue to type in the questions as I go on. So after the family game night happens, as you all know, that was listed on the official rules. There are some documents that you all are required to send in. So and once we receive all of your information, you enter a chance to win 15 more of the Think Fun Clue Master games, a very popular game. So we ask for you to send in your survey and consent forms, your photo consent forms. Those were emailed out, but if you have not received those forms, please feel free to email me and let me know at the email here, harrisjones@pta.org. Also, at least one photo, and you will attach these photos to your online feedback form. I also sent that link as well, but again, if you do not have that information, please feel free to email me. And we have another question for you, Rebecca. Is that okay? It says, which grades did you see more than others? Were the older kids engaged as much as the younger grades? We have elementary school and middle school, and our middle school students seem less engaged. Any advice?
It was definitely more of the kindergarten, first, second grade. We had some older kids that were there, but it was mostly the younger kids that were there in attendance. And that's kind of unfortunate because the games are more geared toward like 4th and 5th grade. They're more for older kids than they are for the younger kids. So that was a little discouraging. I mean, the younger kids tried the harder games, but you could see that it would have been nice to have had more 4th and 5th graders. We're a pre-K through 5 school. So it would have been nice to have more of the older kids, but there were mostly kindergarten, 1st and 2nd graders that were there that night. And that's typically the case. We generally have more of the younger kids that come to things like this.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay. All right. So so as I was saying about the photos, we ask that you send at least one. However, you are allowed to attach up to 3 photos, and just make sure that we have the consent forms for the people that's in the photo, so we can have permission to use those pictures for future events. Are there any questions in regards to the surveys and the consent forms and the photos and the online feedback form? Awesome. Awesome. So I'm going to leave these with some quotes. So we are starting to have feedback forms submitted with pictures, which is amazing. So this is a picture from Pearl Zanker Elementary School and a quote. And yes, feel free to include any quotes that you may have from the attendees to your volunteers. Feel free to include those quotes in the feedback form. All of that is very useful. We have here the most valuable was seeing my 4-year-old, who was very shy, go up to one of the tables and sit there and play a game with one of the teachers. She was able to do the challenge and had a lot of fun. That is, I don't think that is the 4-year-old referred to in the quote, but I thought that was an amazing quote to have. And then we have another quote and picture from Kurtzinger Elementary. I'm talking about similar to the things Rebecca touched on, loving the energy from the night and how the games provoke exciting challenges and out of the box thinking. So one thing that we will continue to say is, as you all, those of you who have not hosted your game night yet, as you all are still in the planning processes, please understand and know that National PTA is here to help you during your entire process for any questions you may have. So just make sure you connect with those school leaders and introduce them to the program. If you have not, there were a couple local PTAs who had not had solidified a date, so make sure that happens. And then form a planning committee, and as Rebecca stated, recruit some volunteers, so that way there are plenty to help for the event. And then promote your event. If you visit pta.org/STEM/fun, we do have a quick tip sheet, some 5 tips on how to have a successful game night based off of some of the other nights that were successful under STEM, some really cool healthy recipes. So feel free to use that guide sheet during your process as well. And of course, we hope for you to host an amazing and fun event so that everyone can see how fun and applicable STEM can be. And then thank your volunteers, gather the feedback and report your results. And don't forget to send us your pictures. So are there any questions regarding anything around family game night, the logistics of it, as far as sending your feedback forms, and any questions? Rebecca, do you have any questions?
No, I don't think so.
Awesome. Awesome. So I do not see any more questions under here. Thank you all for participating. This webinar will be posted at pta.org/STEM for the rest of the Family Game Night PTA leaders who were not able to make this webinar. So Rebecca, I would like to personally and on behalf of National PTA, thank you for volunteering to share your wonderful event with the rest of the local leaders. So thank you so much. And
you're welcome.
any questions, feel free to email me at iharrisjones@pta.org. And again, that Think Fun tip sheet is located at pta.org/stem/fun. So thank you all again for your time, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.